All right, we're back. Instant reactions on Between the Tests. We're about an hour past the Hogs
Yeah.
sweeping Alabama on the road, as we all predicted, right?
Yeah, just like we thought. The every game felt like a lifetime. You went through all the emotions through every single game, and uh, really kind of felt Friday. I don't know. We obviously we talked through every single game, but like Friday, I felt like this is just one of those bad beats. You lose 3-2. Like that's what it felt like because Deets threw well.
Oh, Dietz was
Uh,
incredible.
and the rest of the staff, the Gabe came in. He didn't throw great, but he was fine. Um, it just kind of felt like maybe it was just gonna be those tough Friday night games on the road, and then just to go ham in the eighth was just a sight to see.
How many? Okay, we're an hour off. We don't have all the stats in front of us. How many
Yeah,
runs
I'm
did we
trying to look back
score
at
in
what
the
I can
three
get.
eighth innings
Say
total?
again.
How many runs did we score in the 3 8 innings?
Well, we scored 6 on Friday. I think we scored more than that on Saturday. No, we scored 5 on Saturday, so that's 13. And then we put one up today. Is that
Yeah.
right?
So
Uh,
four, is that right? 13,
yeah,
14
14
runs
eighth inning runs.
in the eighth inning runs. That's
Yeah.
wild.
And to see guys who we've been critical of, like Pompey, come through in big moments, hit the ball hard all weekend. Honestly,
He really did hit the ball well.
he had a couple of singles today and put some. I mean, he had a strikeout, which is you're just going to have to take it with Pompey. Um,
Four for
but when
eight,
he's 4 for
two
8 on the
home
weekend,
runs, 6 RBI. He put
and
a
those
little
homers
pressure, stole a
were
base.
really. I mean, the Thursday home run ended up being the difference, right? Because after
Yeah.
Bama came and scratched 2 back, and then really kind of put everything out of reach yesterday, and was actively involved in the offense today. So like, good on Pompey. He earned his flowers this week.
Yeah.
And then you look at Mac. I mean, my God, that guy is turning into a guy. And if we can get the game to him, I
He's
told you during the game, 6 outs feels like a lot to ask for this guy because he hasn't pitched more than an inning and a third up until this weekend all year. And boy, he looked good. He looked real good.
he was just throwing heavy strike after
Yeah.
heavy strike.
He was able to reach back. I know he generally pops, mid to upper 90s, but felt like it was exploded. It was an explosive fastball today. He was attacking on the inside against lefties, which you don't see a lot. It was just beautiful all the way around. Beautiful.
Well, he shows us that he can be the dude that you stick.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I don't think you're going to see him in the 7th inning anytime soon, unless it's just a wild game. He is just really kind of embraced that role as the fireman, which his father is a fireman, so it kind of works out. Nice symmetry for him. Maybe he's got that genetic component, but he comes in and throws strikes, and I mean, I wouldn't want to be a left-handed batter trying to face that guy.
mm-mm. So obviously Dietz is Dietz. He's our Friday night
Yeah.
guy. He's going to be it. Do you think this upcoming weekend we see Gibbler again on the Saturday start?
Oh, I think so. I think he's definitely earned it. We've got this is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday weekend with Georgia here in Fayetteville, and I do want Dietz was at 100 pitches on Friday. He's going to have to go a day early, so I know we're getting into the season. Weather's going to be a little bit weird this weekend too. I think Saturday in particular might be pretty cool. We may be dodging some rain on Thursday, so a lot of that will bear out in the next few days when they get confidence in what it's actually going to look like. But it's Georgia. You got to go with your studs, so you got to throw Dietz on Thursday just on a day shorter rest than normal. But that does kind of perhaps mean you got to think about the bullpen a little bit earlier. I know we'll talk more about that series later this week.
Sure.
that's something to think about.
Well, so let's say bullpen earlier. Let's say Dietz goes 4. Maybe he doesn't get quite through 5. I mean, we saw Gackle quite a bit, and
Yeah,
he wasn't. I mean, you said he wasn't just like electric, but he was solid, right? I mean,
he's solid. Yeah,
you,
a little bit messy on Friday. Much cleaner, today.
mhm,
I think he got in some jams and got out of it. We
he
had two,
did.
second,
Right.
third, nobody out, and he got out of it. I mean, that takes some metal. So hopefully he embraces that move to the bullpen like he did last year. Um, but I don't know. There's something in the back of my head. We'll talk about it later this week when we get back together. But wondering if, depending on how he feels tomorrow, we won't see him certainly in North Little Rock on Tuesday. Um, Maybe he starts on as an opener on Thursday,
Hmm.
just so
Hmm.
you can keep Dietz on Fridays
Hmm.
with his injury history, kind of getting
Hmm.
back into the flow. I don't know. It's a conversation I wouldn't be surprised if they had. I don't know that it's the right move, but I think it would be worth seeing how he responds to rest and treatment this week. If he feels like he can get you 9 outs on Thursday, and then you kind of reverse engineer like you have done this weekend, where you kind of go Johnny Holstaff on Thursday, and then you go Dietz and
Hmm.
Gibbler Friday, Saturday.
I'm bouncing all around because we're really literally an hour post. Cahillo looked well, but I pointed that out, and you said, "Well, he looked well because he mainly faced a lot of left-handers."
Yeah,
And kind of walk us through that. Walk average Hog fan. So when you're talking about that, what do you mean?
yeah. It's the Cahillo has a hard time against right-handed pitching, especially a good breaking ball against a right-handed pitcher. I haven't looked at his reverse splits, but you could see it this weekend. He was wearing out those lefties that Bama threw out there, taking
Yeah.
good bats, not just hitting the ball hard, but taking good at bats on top of it. Against right-handed pitchers, a right-handed pitcher with a good tumbling curveball or a slider, sweeper, anything that breaks away, he's going to have a hard time. Now, 12-6, I think he's again, I would expect if we looked at those advanced numbers as 12 against a 12-6 curveball, he has a higher success rate than he does against anything that sweeps off the table. So if you have a slider or you have a sweeper and you're right-handed batter, you have a really good chance against Cahillo. Lefties, he doesn't have to worry about chasing that outside
Mm,
pitch. He
mm,
gets his hands are so fast and strong. He can get through the zone on an inside pitch from a lefty and get the barrel out. And even if he doesn't, he's so strong, he can still force it into play and make it to where it's either a hit or the defense has to make a play on it. But yeah, against righties, I kind of wondered going into today, knowing that he had been, I think, 4 for 7 in his first 2 games, wondering if we might see Stewart in the DH slot, just because of that go left right. But and then Grillo struck out in his first 2 at bats. Like it's just it is he's a weapon against lefties. He has to fight pretty hard against righties.
Cam looked good. Cam looked
Yeah,
like the Cam we've seen. He'd been
yeah,
struggling. SEC
absolutely.
played a little bit. Cam looked really good. Root looked pretty good in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, still taking great at bats, Rudenbar.
Yeah. I was maybe you weren't. Maybe you saw it coming. I was surprised. I didn't really see any chatter about Reeves coming back, so I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that
Reeves."
was a surprise to me, and boy, what a shot in the arm! You get high quality defense, and he was obviously our leadoff guy. I think Rudenbar's pretty well taken that, but you get a guy who has a little bit of pop, not a ton, but he's a bat on ball guy in the middle of your order now.
Mm-hmm.
You bat him 5 or 6 and kind of restart your lineup in the middle. You when you don't have a bunch of guys who are just hammering balls over the fence, you got to get creative. And I kind of liked where they've had Reese hitting the last 2 days.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very pleasant surprise. Um, talk a little bit about some of the specific. I mean, Parker Coyle came in and pitched well. Talk
Yeah,
about
looked good too.
some of the guys out of the pen that we saw that looked well.
Yeah, Coyle really threw the ball well. Steele threw pretty well. Got in a little trouble, but he threw pretty well. Fisher did not look great. That's something that's going to have to be resolved, because he's a strike thrower. I don't know what it is, and I haven't seen enough like isolation on him to see if his numbers are down, if if his RPMs on his curveballs are down, or if there's just a book on him that people are starting to learn. Just don't swing anything out of the zone because he's going to live outside of the zone. That may also be, and obviously, much better competition than what he saw when he came out to such a hot start to begin the year. But obviously, McElvain looks great. Coyle looked great. Gack looked really, really good. Didn't have to go deep into the bullpen, so that saves you really for Tuesday. You can recycle through 4 or 5 guys. I was impressed with how Tate looked to start the day today. He wasn't perfect, but it's Sunday in the SEC. You don't expect perfect. He was good enough and kept us in the ball game. Got us to Coyle, who kept us in the ball game. Got us to Gack. Got us to Mac. That's how you're supposed to do it. We had a friend of ours, John, in the chat was saying, if positionless basketball were a thing in baseball, that's what our bullpen would be.
Yeah.
And I think he's pretty right. We got a bunch of guys who can do a bunch of different things.
Well, Tuesday night at Dickey Stevens versus UAPB.
Yep.
And then, like I said, a fast turnaround Thursday, Friday, Saturday versus Georgia at Baum.
Yeah, which is probably, I think if you're looking for small intangibles, Georgia's very, very good. So you hope for some Baum magic, quick turnaround. They had to throw a bunch of guys this week in a very competitive series. In fact, I don't know if that final, are they final? They are. They're final. Okay, so they're done for the weekend. So you look at you get back, you get the game on Tuesday, which UAPB is actually playing better than they played in a long time. They took Missouri to the mat earlier this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. I remember seeing that. I watched a little bit about it. Oh, okay.
I mean, they're overmatched, but they're going to give you a fight. So good to get back. Hopefully, get some other guys in the bullpen chance to throw. But I like the quick turnaround coming back, Chris, for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like, just baseball's an everyday sport. Generally, you get 1 day off, then you play, then you get 1 day off, then we're playing again for 3 days. This team has got some mojo. Let's keep it rolling.
One last thing before we hop off. First base.
Oh, it's rough. It's rough right now because I understand putting Peck in. I kind of like that matchup left right. He had a couple of good at bats, had a couple of very freshman at bats too. Man, I just don't know if he's the answer. I don't know what the answer is right now.
Yeah.
The Hogs won. Like that's the ultimate thing. So like, but you can't keep. If you hold everything together with glue, it's going to break at some point. So like, there's got to be something you can lock down there at first, and it's tough. This is probably as hard as Dave and Nate have had to work in a long time with this defensive alignment and offensive lineup part. Just because, man, the things that they thought they could count on, they can't count on, and that's it's a tough place to be. I'm glad that those are the two guys trying to figure it out for the team because they've seen it, done it, and we'll keep trying to find the right combo. But that first base is just it's a black hole right now.
Well, we will hop back on in between Tuesday and Thursday, in between UAPB and Georgia.
Yep.
Do a brief little recap of UAPB and a big time preview of Georgia. It's going to be a big time series at Baum.
That will, and you think they're kicking off the second half of the conference season. Hogs coming in now over 500, just mentally, it's big. We were talking about RPI ranks and all stuff like this will certainly be a big boost for the RPI rankings. You don't have to have that conversation of will the Hogs dropped out this week. You don't have to worry about that this week.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the team really worried about it, but just noise around the state and around the program. And then you look at what you've got next. You've got Georgia, then you get an extra day off. And then we've got at Mizzou, which is better than they've been, but still not very good. Then you come back and you got Ole Miss, and then OU and Kentucky to end the season. And it's like it's not a bad not as bad as it could be. You kind of feel like if this team starts coming rounding into form, look out, and maybe the reports of their death may be widely premature.
All right, man. Appreciate you hopping on so quick.
Yep.
It's a fun series. Way to get some momentum. It's a whole lot of fun, unexpected. And,
unexpected, yeah. Makes you feel good.
We'll talk in a few days.
All right, buddy. Thanks. You go Hogs.